It's the moment you didn't know you're waiting for.
He is Carter,
He's Chad.
and this is the Irish
365
Podcast.
Chad, this is Lou Holtz. That's head coach at Notre Dame for 11 years. Greatest experience of my life. They're starting a Notre Dame podcast this summer. I have a podcast as well, but it's not about Notre Dame football, although I wish there were. But congratulations on your success. And it would be nice if I could be on your podcast, but my schedule is so hectic. But anything that has to do with Notre Dame, I'm all for it. God bless you. Go Irish.
Welcome in to Irish 365, episode 5. This one's a big one.
This is it. Game week.
We're finally here.
We're
Few
game week.
days out. What we've all been waiting for. It's finally hitting us. Texas A&M week. Texas A&M preview. And here we are. I mean, no better feeling than week 1. We got a little tease last week 0 college football. This week we get the Irish.
Oh, yeah. And, week 0 game in Dublin, Ireland. So there's an Irish feel. You've got A&M. You've got Georgia Tech playing Florida State.
Yep.
And I always laugh because Florida State likes to wear green. I think they envy us a little more than they admit.
Yeah.
And you expected it to be a Florida State route, and it was not.
Yeah.
It was just the opposite. And we knew we felt Georgia Tech was going to be a pretty good team. They showed that they can be a very good team. So game on the schedule, maybe that Georgia Tech game, that Florida State game.
We talked about it in that season preview. Like, Georgia Tech might be good, and we're talking about that 10.5 point spread for that game. It's like Vegas knows Georgia Tech's not. Because a couple years ago, that spread's 28, 35 points.
Yeah.
And boy, Vegas had us again, 10.5 point spread, and Georgia Tech just goes out and wins it.
Vegas knows, absolutely. Yep. And I love this time of year. I'm always excited for the start of football season. It's a little bittersweet because it's the end of summer.
Right.
I'm not ready for the winter season, but I love the fall seasons.
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, it's exciting time, and we're here. We're week 1. We've been looking forward to week 1 more than we probably have in years past.
Yeah, definitely on my drive in this morning. We're talking about doing the podcast tonight, and I was really just thinking about, like, man, we had the A&M here in 2 days for us now, like, as we're recording this. So I mean, that's just.
It seems like a long time ago when we first said, let's see if we can pull this.
Yeah, and we've been talking. It's one of those things we've been talking about for months. So now it's just like, oh man, we're right there. We're a couple sleeps away from being right there in College Station, in front of 102,000 people being there for the games. So
110 is the largest crowd ever at College Station.
110, my bad.
102, I think 103 is the normal, but 110 is the largest. So I wonder if there's going to be extra seats brought in, if they're going to put the extra 13th man in there, the 12th man. I'm looking forward to being at A&M. It's one of those stadiums I've wanted to go to for a long time.
Yeah.
Haven't had a reason. We talked about it earlier. Like, last time Notre Dame played at A&M was 2001.
Yep.
And we did not.
I think the only time we played at A&M.
Maybe the only time we didn't. I remember 2001, and I remember we did not play.
I do not, but
you do not.
Doesn't look good looking back on that score. 24-3 to A&M on that one.
It was a frustrating game that we just couldn't accomplish much. So yeah, it's a long time ago. We're moved on from that. So
not that long ago.
Not that long ago. In football terms, it's a long time ago. There's been a few recruits that have come and gone and graduated since then. And yeah, this is an exciting game just for the season opener. Expectations are high if you're an Irish fan. Expectations are high if you're an A&M fan.
Yeah.
I know that A&M does not have the national following that Notre Dame does, but I know the local following is rabid.
Yeah.
Like that is a city that lives and dies, and the surrounding area lives and dies for A&M football.
No
Texas
doubt.
is a big football state. The Houston Texans are probably the only pro team they've got. They've not been there that long, but the allegiances aren't as strong as they are to A&M. And
definitely.
Of course, that whole corridor going through the center of Texas, where you've got Austin, you've got Texas Tech not up too far up the road.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Texas Christian. You've got, like, it just seems like every hour and a half, 2 hours, you're hitting a major university, whether it's Texas A&M. So should be a good game. Should be an exciting game for us. The travel is going to be part of the fun. If all the travel plans work out as they are expected, we should be there. So from the travel plan standpoint, it's going to be interesting. We fly out of Fort Wayne on Friday.
Yeah.
We connect through Chicago, and we make it into Austin. We're actually flying into Austin. We talked about flying into Houston. We're flying into Austin. Austin's about 2-hour drive to College Station. Houston's about an hour and a half. We're going to drive part way Friday night, spend the night in a hotel, get up in the morning and hit A&M somewhat early on Saturday. Hope to see College game day. There's a little bit of rain in the forecast.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, we were looking at this game, and it was projecting 96, 97, all sun, and no clouds, no nothing.
And a real feel of 103,
100,
104,
yeah,
something like that.
triple digits for sure. So, yeah, temperatures definitely dropped for this one. Rains came into the forecast for the morning. Haven't seen anything for game time yet for rain, but I mean, as we've gotten closer, the chances have gone up. So I wouldn't count it completely out yet.
But
So
temperature at kickoff is now in the 80s.
86, I believe, is what I was seeing
86,
today, and it
and-
was 89 yesterday. I think when I was looking, so it's slowly dropped as we've gone.
And I
on
think
this
the
week.
real feel is somewhere around 87. So
Yeah.
not a lot of humidity predicted. So rains come through in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe they last all day, but rain comes through in the morning. So the weather-wise is not going to be as detrimental to the Irish as I feared
Yeah.
a month ago.
And for those of you keeping up with the weather, I saw reports that the weather was in fact hotter in South Bend this week than it was in College Station, with the real feel of 103, I think, yesterday, 104.
Corn sweat's a real thing in Indiana.
Yeah,
You
so
get humidity that's crazy.
yeah, so it was actually warmer in South Bend, Indiana this week than it was down in the College Station, which is just not what you expected when this game was planned out so long.
But it does neutralize the benefit of the heat
Yep.
in the Texas guys.
Yeah, I
so.
saw Marcus Freeman was very thankful for the heat this week.
Yes, he got a little boost from the guy up above.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting trip travel wise. We'll try and document as much of the travel as we can. We're gonna experiment with some video,
Yep.
Just crowd
how it
shots,
goes,
things
right?
of that nature. It's interesting, and I thought this was interesting. I looked at the Texas A&M website, looking at like prepping for the game prep thing, and they announced they have water stations available. Like there's water refill stations. They call them monster water areas throughout the stadium. Some of the game day traditions. The only thing they really had listed at game day tradition, which was kind of surprising because I thought there might be a lot more going on at A&M.
Yeah.
It's the yell,
The midnight.
the midnight yell that starts at 11:30 Friday night and goes, the yell practice, and then there's a junior yell practice like 2.5 hours before the game.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's a player walk where the player bus gets dropped off about 2.5 hours before the stadium. They walk to the stadium.
A lot of tailgating, huh?
A ton of tailgating everywhere. When you got a stadium that seats 103 and you've got parking to hold that many people, lots of tailgating.
That's what we were kind of just talking about before we came on here. Like, there's still like parking within a mile of the stadium available, where it's like you don't see that too much in the Midwest. Like a couple days out, where school is still selling the parking because it's so like it is limited. Even in South Bend, like you're parking in house, but they've got so much open spaces. Is what I'm assuming here, that ever can park and still selling parking. It's just like you had 20,000 more people going through Notre Dame Stadium. Where are they going to park at? Like beside,
Whitefield will hold a lot, but that's not a mile walk. It's a couple mile walk, and it's a bus ride for most people. So.
Exactly. So definitely be interesting.
Yeah,
so
look forward to episode 6. We'll probably put that out post game, a day or two after the game. We'll see how that goes, but we'll give you all the updates. The family will be on, the whole crew will be on. We'll be talking about what we've seen from the concession stands, the crowd, the atmosphere, game experience, how great or gracious or how terrible we were treated by A&M fans.
Yeah,
a
little bit of both, right?
I expect it's probably going to be worse if we lose than if we win. If we win. No, I'm sorry. If we win, it'll probably be. If we win, they'll probably be a little more quiet. If we lose, they're probably going to be chirping and they're going to be feeling good and talking trash. So
it definitely always adds to it though when it's a night game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not only is it week 1, but I mean these people have been. Even you see it in Notre Dame, just the difference between fans for a 3:30 kick versus 7:30 kick. People have been drinking all day. People have just been. Getting ready for the game since 7, 8 a.m. And this one's week 1. So people have been getting ready for this game since last year.
It's week 1. A&M has had talent. They've not had a coach that's been able to capitalize on that talent. I think the A&M crowd is ultra excited about Elko.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't they be? He's 2 years as a head coach at Duke.
Yeah.
He won both of his openers. In year 2, he won the opener against a top 10 Clemson team.
Right.
With Duke.
28-7 too.
With Duke.
Yeah.
Like he does not have the perception is he did not have the athletes at Duke that he has at A&M.
Yeah.
Nothing against the Duke kids because they'd probably beat him in the SAT Bowl.
Yep.
But like the athletes
probably on that one.
Yeah. The athletes, I'm being nice.
Okay.
The athletes at A&M are just expected to be better athletes than what he had at Duke.
Yeah.
And what we talked about this when we announced the series with A&M, I think they had the number one class that following year in recruiting. They had 9 5-star recruits.
Yeah.
There are only 50 5-star recruits any given year.
Yeah.
They had 9.
It's not like 50 every year, but yeah,
there's 50. There's like 50 at the most.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like having the 10 picks in the first round of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
It's just now a lot of those kids aren't there anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, Elko, obviously storyline this game is going to be about him.
Yeah.
That's going to be the go-to. If you're on this game on TV, they're going to be talking about him first year. And they're definitely going to bring up the Notre Dame connection. So obviously back in 2017, he was the defensive coordinator for the Irish. So just a refresher on that year, we finished 10-3. Big loss at home against Georgia, 20-19.
Yeah.
I mean, defense
wasn't our problem.
Was not a problem.
We held a very good Georgia team to 20 points.
20 points, and I was lose that game by just a point there. Another big one that year was that Miami game on the road, 41-8. Sounds absolutely awful, but if you remember anything about that game, the turnover chain was introduced nationally, I'm pretty sure, because we just turned the ball over hand and foot. Put the defense in a lot of awful positions.
I thought the offense was playing hot potato and winning.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they were playing football and losing.
Yes,
it
no
was bad.
kidding. That was, If you don't remember the turnover change, I think I still might have nightmares every once in a while.
Don't YouTube it. It's nothing good can come from that.
No. But anyways, Irish finished as a top 50 scoring defense that year. Elko ends up leaving after that season and goes down to Texas A&M to take the defensive coordinator and special teams coordinator, I believe, job for 2018 to 2021. So he's got experience down there at A&M. It's not like he knows what he's getting himself into.
He knows A&M. He knows the land. He knows he knows where to go to get a good sandwich.
Yep. So then Elko left A&M though after that 2021 season to take that Duke job for the 2022 season and the 2023 season. He ended up finishing as 16-9 as a head coach at the University of Duke. Which if you're
real respectable record.
If you're above 500, that's at Duke doing something
well,
right.
Especially only 2 years.
Yeah. So turn that program around pretty quick. It'll be interesting to see if they fall back off. He did finish as the 2022 ACC Coach of the Year. So that first year at Duke won ACC Coach of the Year. So I mean that.
Yeah, he's a good coach.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Like you said, he's won both opening games as a head coach.
So yeah, give him all summer to prep. He preps.
He can figure it out.
Yeah, and I liked Elko when he was at Notre Dame as a defensive coordinator. I was a little bit of a disappointment we lost him when we did.
Yep.
It ultimately probably worked out better for us. We had a couple of different defensive coordinators, but we ultimately ended up with Marcus Freeman.
All right. Everything works out for a reason, right?
And now we've got Freeman as a head coach, and I like Freeman as a head coach. I wouldn't be mad if I was A&M and had Elko as a head coach, but
yeah, no kidding.
I'm happy with what we've got in Freeman for sure. So
yeah, anything else you got on Elko, or you kind of want to get into the A&M roster?
I think the other thing you talk about storyline is there's 2 former Duke players that are now on the Notre Dame roster, right?
Yeah, definitely. So obviously you got starting quarterback Riley Leonard.
Everybody's going to be talking about Riley Leonard, and when you look about Riley Leonard's playing his former coach, I don't know how much of an advantage that is for Leonard as the quarterback to understand or expect what's going to come at him from a defense, because probably what he saw in practice at Duke was scout team running whatever opposing team's defense was.
Right.
He didn't have an inside baseball look. Now, all that being said, I think Marcus Freeman and Al Golden have probably spent a lot of time paying attention to what Elko likes to do defensively.
Yeah.
And they've probably got in Denbrock's ear and said, these are some things that you should be expecting.
Yeah.
And I think Denbrock's a seasoned guy who's been around a lot, and he's probably knows what to expect in that respect. So, so I think the advantage definitely goes to Elko when it goes the Elko versus Riley Leonard, because Elko knows Leonard's strengths.
You know what he likes.
He knows his weaknesses. He knows what he's good at, right?
Knows to take away what he wants to see. And I was listening to what Elko was saying the other day, and he was basically saying the opposite. Like, I think Riley's got the upper hand on this one. He knows me, and
it's gamesmanship.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely underplaying it. But I mean, you're spending a head coach and his quarterback spending a decent amount of time together. Especially when he's got a high caliber guy like that at the program such as Duke. I mean, he knows his tendencies. He knows what he likes. He's calling plays or his OC's calling plays that he knows what he likes to see. So,
and if you look at what Leonard did at Duke, it was a lot of the RPO.
Yep.
And it was a lot of run, and they didn't force him to pass a lot. So I would he expects that's what Leonard's most comfortable, and that's where his strength is, and he's going to scheme defensively for that.
Yep. I Couldn't agree more.
Now the other player we've got is
R.J. Oben.
R.J. Oben, defensive end,
yep.
right? A little harder to scheme for him. He knows that R.J. Oben's a good defensive end. He knows he's going to get pressure. He knows that the A&M line is a little sus.
Yeah.
So he's gonna chip block him. He's gonna put tight end on him. He's gonna come up with something to game plan to minimize his impact as
100%.
well. Again, I think that benefit goes to Elko over the player. The coach always has the advantage over the player in those head-to-head competitions.
Yeah.
And unless you're Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan, who were together for every years and could think with the same brain.
Yeah.
It's going to be the coaches in a college game. It's going to be the coach's benefit. I think the coach is going to have the tip of the hat. Now, Riley might be able to tell the team what he expects.
Right.
Offensively is going to happen, so the defense can prepare. And Oben might be able to say, "This is what the defensive scheme will probably look like."
Yeah.
And help the offense a little bit, but it's not the same. So
yeah, but just on this kind of note, I was seeing a quote from Elko the other day. Basically, he was saying, trying to figure out this Notre Dame offense, though. Did you see this where he said he had to watch? He's been watching like 8 different teams or something ridiculous about trying to figure out what Notre Dame's going to do. Q said he was watching. He mentioned Notre Dame, FIU, Clemson, LSU, and then obviously he's watching Duke with Riley Leonard.
Yeah, and I think that's the X factor for us.
Yeah,
because Denbrock has a plan.
Yeah,
and it's usually around highlighting players' skill sets.
Yeah,
he has a base style of offense he likes to run, but he'll mold it around what players' skill sets are. And I think that's interesting because I don't know what to expect from our offense.
I mean,
I've got some ideas of what I think we're going to see.
Yeah,
but I don't truly know what to expect. Now I haven't spent the time and the effort that
It's not our full-time job to.
And I couldn't hold a light to, let Elko read by when it comes to figuring out an offense. So, so I think that's going to be interesting. And I think Elko's a wise guy. I think a lot of coach speak. He's going to play it down. He may have it figured out, or at least he may think he's got it figured out.
Right.
But he's not going to tip that hat. He's going to be coy and he's going to say, "Well, it's tough. There's a lot to look at. I don't know what to expect."
Yeah, that's modern college football, though. Week 1, how hard is it to watch film? Because you've got a new offensive coordinator. You've got a new head coach. You've got a bunch of not new head coach, a new quarterback.
Yep.
And then you've got a bunch of new wide receivers and
Well, it's the same thing for us, though. I mean, we have nothing to go on A&M. They've got a new coach.
Oh, I know.
They got a quarterback that they're high on, but he didn't play last year because of injury.
Yeah.
Their star running back is injured, and so now they're going to the backup. We don't really know. We know he's a Texas running back, so he's probably good because he's just from a heavy running back area. But we don't really know what to expect from them offensively, and they're going to be a different team than what they've been in the past. You can't look at Jimbo Fisher and predict, and I don't think you can look at Duke and predict what's going to happen. So
he's got more talent here to work with. So what can he do with it?
Yeah, the talent level's better, and even if you say some of the top end guys at Duke are as good, and I think quarterback wise, Riley Leonard's probably better than what they've got at A&M.
Yeah,
you still have to say the depth is probably much better at A&M than it was at Duke.
Yeah.
The number 1 guy might be as good as the number 1 guy or close, but the number 2 guy is probably not as good as the number 2 guy when you go from Duke to A&M. That's for sure. So
yeah. So all right, you and Kai want to get into the A&M transfer portal? I mean,
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Revolving door.
Obviously, new head coach comes in from last year. I mean, they've had transfers in and out. It seems like they've been all over since this kind of has opened up. But last year, Jimbo leaves 31 transfers out of the Texas A&M program.
31 out of an 85-man roster.
Yeah. 31 transfers.
110 on the roster, but 85 scholarship.
Yeah. I mean, that's so
a third.
That's just ridiculous.
And that's maybe pushing half the guys that actually played.
Yeah. Yeah. Not all those guys played, and some were right in the bench and whatnot, but they then brought in 28 transfers. I mean, that's a rebuild right there, right?
And that's on top of any
recruits. Yeah, so I mean, you're probably looking at
40 new players.
45-ish new faces in this building. Never played a game for Texas A&M. Putting on the jersey for the first time, week 1.
Yeah.
Probably 45 guys.
Could be good and could be bad. I mean, the good part is whatever culture problems they had with not winning under Jimbo Fisher, who's historically been a good coach.
Yeah.
A lot of that left the building.
Yeah.
Right. So that may be a good thing. Fresh people coming in. I think it was the 86 or 87 season. I think it was Holt's second year.
Uh-huh.
He went into a game and they lost at the bowl game, and he come out of it and he said, "I got guys that aren't even playing that are crying in the locker room. I got to reevaluate who I'm starting and who I'm not."
Yeah.
And that was going into the 88 national championship season. And one of those guys that famous was seen crying in the locker room, Chris Zorich.
Yeah.
Chris Zorich went on to be a dominant defensive guy. He went on to be in the NFL for years. So, I mean, passion is a lot of it. So was it just the Jimbo Fisher guys didn't have the passion and
coming to get the money, right?
They come got the bag and dipped. So
yeah, there's definitely not been a question about Texas A&M willing to cough up some money in this new NIL era.
Yeah, and no one knows what's true and not true.
Right.
But there's always been the rumors of pay to play in the SEC. The rest of the world's just caught up with them with the NIL. That's why Nick Saban left, because he didn't have an advantage anymore.
Take a shot at Nick Saban any chance to get.
I'm only mad at Nick Saban because he's not been my coach.
Yeah,
That's all I can say.
Exactly.
How do you get a Catholic guy who's a devout Catholic who's a great football mind to not come to Notre Dame?
Yeah.
Anyways,
big name I think Irish fans might recognize next year, or coming in from last year, E.J. Smith, son of Emmitt Smith from Stanford. Didn't have a great year last year, but boy, did he have a good night against the Irish last year.
Yes.
7 catches for 116 yards with 53-yard long. Definitely by far his best game. I think he put up like a third of his year stats last year at Stanford against the Irish. So he had a good year last year against the Irish. So I think that'll be definitely something experienced, though. I'm sure they'll be going to him as a wide receiver out there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And like you said, I think A&M's got a young quarterback that they're excited about. He got injured last year, and it's going to be interesting to see how he does. I mean, I think we saw one of the Aggie beat writers say that there were some issues or concerns.
Yeah, dropping balls
with
against
dropped
air,
balls,
right?
and balls not going, like the route timing was just off.
That was 2 weeks ago.
That was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now, how much that's improved, how much that was one practice, how much, we don't know.
Bad day, yeah.
Just could have been a hot, sweaty day.
No. It might have been cold. Might have been 70.
It might have been a cold day, yeah. So
didn't have the heaters out.
So, I mean, I think they've got some concerns there, but I think they've got talent there. I know I've heard different people talk about this game, and there's people that think that A&M's going to be an easy game, and there's people that, Vegas thinks we're going to lose by 3.
Yeah.
So I tend to think it's going to be a much tougher game. I've said it before. I think it's a harder game. I think it's the hardest game on the schedule. Maybe not the best team we play, but definitely one of the harder games on the schedule. So I'm
at least from the fan perspective, just not knowing what we have, right?
Yeah.
If you felt if it's the NFL and you have a couple preseason games and you've seen how the offense is going to run a little bit, you've seen stuff. We might be feeling a lot better, but we don't have preseason college.
Yeah.
You roll out there week 1 and see what we got.
The last time we saw the Irish play anything close to football was the spring game.
Yeah.
And that is not.
Riley Leonard was Russell Wilson back there taking his fake
snaps,
really. Yeah. That wasn't selling us too good back there, we'll be honest.
Yeah. Not your best look, Riley.
Yeah.
The baby face killer looked like a baby, not a killer. So.
No kidding. I mean, that was cracking us up. But definitely it's football, but yeah.
Yeah.
Inter-squad scrimmage still.
And yeah, it's a scrimmage. Now there's been some scrimmages that they've had. You've seen some highlights on social media and stuff, and you're only seeing 10 seconds, 20 seconds of the
clips.
good. You're not seeing what's going on.
Yeah.
You're not seeing.
They're not showing us the offensive line can't block.
They're not giving us anything that Elko can take to the bank and game plan with. That's for sure.
So then others, so they obviously finished number 4 in the portal rankings from this past year, bringing in 28 guys. Also finished with the top 20 recruiting class. So did it on both ends though of that recruiting. I mean, Elko went after it once he got there. It's not easy coming in as a new head coach after someone got fired and keeping a class together and finish at the top 20.
Yeah, especially a place like A&M where I don't know they're selling A&M as much as they're selling the football program and the coaches.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, we sell the 4 for 40, we sell the school, we sell a lot of other stuff. I don't know what the A&M recruiting pitch is. I think it's come here, playing the SEC, compete for national championship.
Yeah.
The weather's nice year round.
Yep. You're going to play an awesome fan base.
And you're not that far from a couple major cities if you want to get out of town, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Fan base is rabid. NIL's got to be good at A&M, I think.
Yeah.
Those opportunities got to be strong for a lot of players.
So here's the interesting part for me. A&M last year finished 7-6. Let's see if you know this. Do you know what their home record was?
They win 5?
6-1.
6-1. Okay, they won.
So they won one game on the road last year and only lost one game at home.
There's a reason Kyle Field has a reputation
Yeah.
for being a very tough environment. The home of the 12th man. It's like I said, 103,000 loyal fans.
Loud.
And I don't understand the yell guys that wear the white overalls and do the little weird hitch step, but that's their tradition.
Yeah.
And it seems to work for the crowd.
Yeah.
That's all.
Gets them going, right?
That's all that matters. I like the mascot, which is the collie. I think the dog's cool.
Yeah. Seems to just be chilling out, right?
He seems all right, but yeah, it's gonna be one interesting environment for sure.
Yeah, you had a team barely above 500 last year that went 6-1 at home. I mean, if that doesn't tell you, in the SEC.
Yeah.
Right. Like
they
take care of home. They take care of home.
It's an environment they want to play in.
Yeah. All right, so I guess let's get into keys of the game.
Yeah. So what if you're A&M?
Yeah.
And you've got to play Notre Dame. What do you got to do to win, right?
All right. So what I'm saying for A&M, you got to keep the ball.
Yeah.
You got to figure out a way to keep the ball against our defense. I'm not saying you got to go down and score every time, but you can't be going 3 and out.
Sustained drives. Absolutely agree. And if I were planning that, I would say I don't like the idea of throwing the ball a lot against this Irish defense.
Yeah, I don't like throwing the ball deep against us, especially.
You've got 2 guys that are going to go top. I don't know what first, second round, but
top 3 rounds for sure for both.
Top 3 guys for Watts and Benjamin Morris. Those are 2 guys who are going to be NFL top 3.
They're going to be playing
top
on
3 round picks, right? They're going to be playing on Sundays. So, and you got a lot of young guys that. Yeah. So defensive front's going to be strong. But we showed last year, even though we've got a lot of returning guys on defense, I think 7 of our defensive starters are graduates. Grad students, or grad transfers, guys with a lot of experience. And we got Oben, and I think Oben is just a plug and play for Baptiste. Yeah, like very similar body style, very similar.
And that's not a position where you got to get used to the scheme. You got to know if you're
an edge guy.
Yeah, just go get the quarterback.
Beat that.
Get the ball.
Left tackle and get to the ball.
Yeah.
So I think defensively we showed some weakness against the run a few times last year.
Yeah.
And so if I'm Elko and I'm trying to game plan, I think he'll do a lot of similar to what he did with Riley Leonard. I think he'll run according to that new style triple option, if you will. He'll run that RPO.
Yeah.
He's gonna stick the ball in the running back's gut.
Yeah.
He's gonna make the guy on the edge make a decision, and then he's gonna let the quarterback try and make a play.
Yeah.
And so I expect we're gonna see a lot of that. And if I was A&M, that's probably what I would do, because I think that's your best bet. You can control the clock, you can slow the game down.
Yeah.
Get less possessions for the Irish, because if you're concerned about Denbrock being able to put up points, then don't give him the ball. You can't score if you don't have the ball, right? Keep your defense fresh. Let them get it there. I would try and get 3-4 yards a run. I would just, if I could get 3-4 yards a run, keep it manageable. When I had to throw on 3rd down, I wouldn't have to throw anything deep. I could throw short passes. I could, quick hit to a tight end, quick hit to a slot, maybe a running back out of the backfield. I think you keep it manageable. And I mean, this is going to be their quarterback's biggest game. He's not played in a big game. He started off last year. He got injured early, but he didn't play a big game. So this is his first big game.
Yeah.
He'll settle in really quick with a favorable home crowd if they keep the game plan simple. Right?
Yeah. And I think that also gets into it, though. I mean, I think another big key for him, though, is how can they get this home crowd into the game early?
Yeah.
Or keep them in the game. They're going to be into the game early, but how can they keep them into the game?
Don't let the Irish score.
Right.
If you don't let the Irish score,
can't turn the ball over.
The crowd's going to stay in it, right?
Yep.
So don't give the Irish momentum. Don't turn over the ball. I don't know how rabid this fan is. I don't think they get down 7 points, they give up.
Oh, no.
I don't think they get down 14 points, they give up. I think you got to get up 3 or 4 scores to take the crowd out.
I'm saying they can't go out and throw a pick on the first drive.
No. I mean, if they throw pick 6 on the first drive, that'll quiet down the crowd for a hot minute. But I don't think it'll sustain unless the Irish roll. So again, I think ball control, slowing down the game, running the ball, RPO. Offensively, that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. Defensively, I think I'm going to try and defend the RPO, and they've got the athletes to do that.
Yeah.
They're going to probably make Riley Leonard throw the ball to beat.
Yeah. Defensive key is make us throw the ball.
Right. Because I think Riley Leonard, it's an interesting guy, and I've thought about him as a quarterback. He's a guy I feel the Irish can win with.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. But I think we got 4 quarterbacks in our stable that we can win with.
Yeah.
The question is, why are we starting Leonard? And is that because he's a guy that we can win because of?
Yeah.
And there's a difference.
100%.
So is he a guy that we can win because of? I felt like he was a guy that Duke could win because of.
Yeah.
But playing the ACC schedule is not the same as playing Texas A&M with the athletes they've got. So
you're going to go out there and win us this football game.
Yeah, I'm gonna make Riley Leonard beat us with his arm.
Yeah.
If that's my game plan, I'm gonna say, you got a bunch of receivers that are new. You've got a suspect offensive line, Notre Dame. I'm going to shut down any idea of Riley Leonard trying to run the ball or RPO the ball. I'm going to make him throw the ball. So if I can get pressure up the middle, because I think there's an opportunity to get pressure up the middle in the Notre Dame line, protect the edges, don't rush off the edges, rush up the middle, get Riley Leonard, get him in a 3rd and long position, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, make him throw the ball. He's got to prove that he can throw it. Now, I've heard different stories. I've heard his accuracy suspect, and that's not his strength. I've heard his accuracy's gotten much better.
Yeah.
Shout out Phillip Rivers this summer, I guess.
Yeah.
But so that I think will be the interesting thing. If my game plan would be defensively, don't worry about getting my rushers off the edge, even though they probably have an opportunity to do that from time to time.
Yeah.
Bring the pressure up the middle, maybe linebacker blitz, maybe safety blitz, and
QB spy.
Yeah. Make Riley Leonard beat you with his arm.
Yeah.
And I think they've got I think they got a team that can do that. We're going to find out how good Riley Leonard is.
Yeah, definitely.
So to me, if I'm A&M, that's my game plan.
Yeah. I don't think I have any other points on A&M's game plan. I think that's the big ones.
Yeah. So then you go into what's the Irish game plan? How does Notre Dame, Notre Dame's going to win this game. How are they going to do it? So defensively, I think we're going to be the same sort of a thing. We're going to try and make their quarterback beat us with his arm.
Yeah.
And I think the advantage to us is I think we've got a stronger secondary.
Mm-hmm.
We're probably pretty evenly matched in the front 7.
Yeah.
But we've probably got a stronger secondary. So where they are going to probably bring in pressure from safety blitz, corner blitz thing a little bit, we will probably try and get that done without bringing in the help and but I'm also comfortable with a lot of our guys in the back end playing on an island.
Yeah. We'll take the one-on-one matchups like BMO.
A lot of people expected Jaden Mickey to be a starting corner this year, and Christian Gray has got the nod.
Yeah.
And I've heard Benjamin Morris say Christian Gray's probably better corner than me. He just doesn't have the experience yet. At this point in his development, he's probably better than me.
Yeah.
So you got to like that because I'm high on Jaden Mickey.
And I know corners, they are big personalities. They're not giving up top dog personality.
No.
That takes a lot for an upperclassman corner to admit that he thinks someone's better than him.
Yeah. Not today, but at that point in his career, yeah. And Benjamin Morris, he's got every reason to be confident and be cocky because he's proven himself year in and year out.
He's shown up on the big stage.
And he's going to do it again. Clockwork. Sun's going to come up, sun's going to go down. BMO's going to lock it down.
I expected a very similar game from him as that Kyle Hamilton Florida State game that opened up the season a few years back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just that dude is an NFL player. Yeah. That Kyle Hamilton cross the field, 50-yard, hash to sideline pick.
How did he close that gap?
Yeah.
And then you hear the knock, well, he's not fast enough. Well, I think the Ravens found that he's fast enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Benjamin Morris is he's going to prove on the big stage he belongs and he's an NFL talent. So I think him and Xavier Watts are going to have good games. But good thing for us is I think defensively it allows Al Golden to run some of his complex schemes.
Yep.
He won't have to run safety blitzes and things of that nature because he is going to be playing some more athletic linebackers. Maybe not as experienced, but much more athletic linebackers than what he's had in the past. You're going to have Kaiser is the returning guy that's going to help kind of keep that stability and that information. And you're going to have Drake Bowen, who's just an athlete. And people say he's stiff and he's this and that and the other. But if you've seen him play baseball, you just say he's a big guy and he's more limber than you think he is. So I'm excited for Drake Bowen. I think it's going to be
seeing him up close, and
I think it's a coming out party for him. I think he's going to be able to show.
Yeah, he does not mind contact whatsoever. That dude will go hit a tree if it's in his way.
Old school linebacker mentality.
Yeah.
I just want to hit you and hit you hard.
Yeah.
Like, he probably counts the number of times he gets snot bubbles that come out of the opposing guy's nose because he hits him so
no
hard.
kidding. Like, that dude loves
Yeah.
contact.
He's probably keeping a stat on decleating people too.
Yeah,
Like,
no
how
kidding.
many people did you decleat a game? That's what he's worried about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Irish defensively, Golden's going to game plan, and I think Golden will game plan really well. I don't think there's going to be anything too crazy. I don't think we have to get crazy in the exotic blitzes. I think we just got to put pressure on with our front and let our corners kind of be one-on-one and see. Let's see what they've got. Let's see what they've got in the way of receivers. If their receivers think they're NFL talent, they want to go to the next level, this is their chance to show, right? So let's challenge them. I think our guys beat their guys. I think that's an advantage for us.
Yeah.
So offensively, now, this is where I think it gets interesting for the Irish.
Oh, 100%.
We just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to say offensive game plan has to be get our guys that are athletes the ball. You know what I mean? We've got Jeremiah Love, who I am very high on this year. We've got these wide receiver transfers that sounds like a lot of great things, like Bo Collins coming out about.
Yeah, the receivers sounds like an upgrade because we've got good receivers for
with experience.
Portal. Question is, how accurate is Riley Leonard's arm?
Yeah.
Like, has he got the timing down? I've seen some highlight clips where he's throwing some good balls.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a missed ball or two that didn't make the highlight film.
Oh, exactly.
They show some highlights of Riley Leonard running the ball. And if I'm game planning and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to attack a really good defensive front with some maybe lesser quality corners, I'm going to try and figure out how can I get the ball, take a deep shot every now and then.
Yeah. Keep them honest.
I also know that I've got a big quarterback who's not afraid of contact. Riley Leonard is not afraid of contact either. I'm gonna probably put some RPO in there. I mean, maybe
get him outside the pocket. Right?
Maybe something looks really similar to a triple option play comes into that. I mean, you got Payne and you got Love and like Riley Leonard in the backfield. You could literally run a triple option type play every now and then.
Yeah,
because that helps tremendously a offensive line.
Yeah.
Right. The RPO, the triple option, those plays are, the reason Navy runs triple option. It's because they know they've got an undersized offensive line, but they can be competitive because the triple option kind of neutralizes defenses, being aggressive. So I would think for us, that's going to be part of it. Getting Jeremiah Love the ball in space.
Yeah.
I get him 15, 20 touches. Whether it's handoffs, passes, just get him the ball. He's dynamic.
Get him the ball often.
And I feel it's like we saw a little bit of flashes from him, but Estime was just so dominant last year that people just kind of like, Estime's our guy. Estime's our guy.
Yeah.
But, you saw Estime the year prior where he was splitting, carries with Diggs, and everybody was high on Diggs.
Yeah.
And Estime come out of nowhere and was just like, whoa, this guy's good.
Yeah.
I know we were high on Estime a couple years ago. I'm like, this is a bigger back. He kind of reminds me of Bettis, but I think Love's that way. I think Love's going to be a dynamic player. I think he's going to be, he's going to make things happen, and, he's going to make things happen in space. And if you're trying to help the offensive line out, a little wheel route, a little pitch, drop down for Riley. He doesn't have to be the most accurate guy on a 10-yard pass, but you get Love the ball in space outside that defensive end. Yeah. Defensive end's got to chase him down. Corner's got to make a tackle. Like, he could make a 3-yard pass go for 15 yards.
And I think it also will be interesting early. How often do we get the ball to Mitchell Evans?
Yeah.
I think that's just going to, it's a Notre Dame quarterback and a tight end. He's going to be the safety net.
Yeah. Well, you got Evans, you got Raritan.
Yeah.
And here's what I don't know. If I'm Denbrock, I'm going to be a little bit tempted to put a tight end to help block, to help my line. Right. Especially if I'm trying to go downfield. Now, can that be a chip block and then just hit the flat and you're there for a 3-yard dump off if Riley ends? Maybe. And I think that's interesting because Mitch Evans he's a much better tight end than what people realize. Because the injury last year, a little bit of like loss of playing time. And we got a guy coming back that's Michael Mayer like in his skill set.
Definitely. It's Notre Dame tight end.
Yeah,
he's going to be good. I feel very high about Mitchell Evans, and I think he's going to be going fly under the radar coming into this game, maybe, and he's going to have some big plays for the Irish.
Yeah. So we got to talk about the line though, because we think we are offensive line U.
Yeah.
You can look at the history over the last years, and you can say there's a lot of guys in the NFL that have done very well. And that went to Notre Dame. We're going to be starting a young offensive line. Young.
Couple freshmen, couple redshirt freshmen, sophomore.
Yeah, I think the stat is 7 total starts on the offensive line coming back. Now, there's a tie-in here, right? The last time we had that few of starts on a starting offensive line, 1988.
Point over the shoulder real quick there for you at the banner, right?
There you go.
1988, right over your shoulder. Yep, other side.
Boom.
Yep.
So there's a tie-in to that. Does history repeat itself? Is it just a coincidence? It's Marcus Freeman's year
Third
3.
year. Yeah.
That was Lou Holtz's year 3.
Yep.
So yeah, it's fun to point at. But that 88 year, we were a tough spot against Michigan, and a guy by the name of Reggie Ho, who was a walk-on kicker, who was famous for practicing in the parking lot during band practice, like he kicked a field goal to win the Michigan game.
Yeah.
Like we were pretty close to not beating Michigan that year. So we weren't a dominant team early. We became a dominant team late.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of the MO for this Irish team. I think we've got a really strong group of offensive linemen, and I think they're going to come around. I just don't know they're going to be ready week 1 versus a very good A&M team. And so you're going to have to game plan accordingly.
Yeah. And that's the difference, though, between 88 and 2024. You can lose this game and still win that championship at the end of the year.
You don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like you can lose this game and go on a run, and Florida State may not be as strong as we think they are, but maybe Georgia Tech will be that team that gets a quality win. And USC should be a quality win, at the end of the season if we can make that run. So yeah. And again, I don't need to be number 1 in the country. I just need to be in number 5, number 6 seed at the end of the year. That's all I want to be, 5 or 6 seed. I'll be happy with 7 and 8 because we have that first round home game. But yeah, so that's where it is. So I think for the Irish, that's kind of the keys.
Yeah.
So predictions. What do you think? What do you think the score is going to be?
I bet went into FanDuel DraftKings the other day. So.
Oh, don't give them the free promo. Okay,
so my bad. Sports book.
You want a sports book, and you made a bet.
24 my bad. 27-17 Irish.
27-17?
Yeah.
You think 2 scores?
Yep. I have 10 points. Now I got to verify. You got me.
Okay. So what's the over and under? Because I haven't looked, but I thought it was
46.5 is what it's been. Yeah. Let me get the live stuff for you. So yeah, we've got Notre Dame. Irish are +3 right now, and then 46.5 is that line.
See, I think the under there.
24-14 is my final score prediction. My bet 24-14.
24-14.
Yeah.
Still 10
points.
I think it's going to be a low scoring game. Unless there's defensive scores, I think it's a low scoring game.
Yeah, and that's the under there. That's 38.
Yeah. So I would agree with you. It wouldn't surprise me if this final score is 14-17.
Yeah.
It really, you could tell me it's going to be 6-9 and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yep.
So yeah, I would definitely take the under. And then you think it's
24-14. I think the Irish win by 10.
See, I'm going to go 17-10. I think the Irish win 17-10. I think it's a low scoring game, and I think it's a late score. I think it
comes down.
I think it comes down to the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter for the deciding. If this game's 10-10 at the start of the fourth quarter, will not surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a fourth quarter ball game. It's going to be a top 20 matchup, right?
Yeah.
We're all expecting it to be a good game. I don't think anyone's expecting either team to win this game by 20, 21, 28 plus.
Yeah. Something's gone horribly wrong for one of the teams if this game's more than 2 scores.
All right. So getting into the betting, though, Irish. When we were doing the season preview a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was.
Yeah.
1 point dog going in this game. It was a pick 'em.
Yeah.
Vegas has changed the last few days. We're +3 right now.
Yeah.
Definitely as this game's got closer. And I don't know if that means more money's on A&M. I'd have to assume so. That's moving the line here. But unless Vegas knows something. But it's kind of hover around that 2.5, 3-point line the last few days.
I got to believe again, I think the A&M fans are pretty loyal. And I got to believe that they're excited. I mean, new coach, high expectations. They know Elko. They know he's a good coach. So I got to believe there's some money going on that A&M side that's moving the line a little bit. I can't imagine there's any kind of inside information's coming out of the Notre Dame campus making them caution about Notre Dame.
Yeah, the only
coming out of A&M that makes them excited about A&M.
The only interesting point on that, though, if you're saying A&M fans throwing the money, Texas is not a legal sports betting state. So for the sports book's sake,
yes,
the line's not changing because people in Texas can't put those bets in.
They can't put those bets in Texas.
Yes. Yes. Very true. So are they going out of state to put these bets in? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, so there may be something moving the line.
Yeah.
But don't know that there is.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything coming out from what I've paid attention to from the Notre Dame side that makes me have great concern.
Yeah.
Nor have I heard anything coming out from what I paid attention to on the A&M side that gives great concern. I know the A&M faithful are excited. I know talking to some A&M grads and alumni that they're pretty excited, but they're not, oh my gosh, we're going to kick Irish's butt. It's going to be a blowout kind of thing either. They're like, we got a pretty good team. And, again, third-year coach versus first-year coach, you would think that would favor the guy in his third year over the guy in his first year. But Elko has proven that.
But they're both third-year head coaches in total. Obviously, it's Elko's first year
experience. Yeah.
Elko took the job, the Duke job. Samuel Freeman took the Notre Dame job.
Yeah.
So,
and it's very easy to see that Elko's had success opening up games, right?
Yeah.
Two games, he's 2-0 opening up home openers. So I wish, or season openers, not even home openers, season openers. So yeah, I think that's going to be an interesting mix. So I don't know why, but what's happened that made the Irish 3-point dogs?
Yeah. And maybe just more for that home crowd. But yeah. So other bets though. So you can get the Irish plus 125 on the money line. So plus money on that. Jeremiah Love has been floating around that anytime touchdown score right at even money, plus 100. Definitely like that bet this weekend. I mean, if you feel confident about any Irish player scoring, Jeremiah Love. One that was a little farther down the list than I was expected, though. Mitchell Evans, we were talking about earlier, plus 285. I think he was around that 8th or 9th player on the list there. I feel like in the red zone, Notre Dame's going to be looking for a tight end, right?
Yeah, but has Denbrock been as tight end dependent?
It's true. Yeah.
But I'm trying to think back when Denbrock was at Notre Dame. I think he had Rudolph and Eifert. I'd have to go back and think of who
was
the
tight
tight
end
ends.
ones. Yeah, I don't know. I can't commit to any of those off the top.
Because he would have had. Did he have Fuller and Wim? Well, he would have had Fuller and maybe Kaiser. I'd have to look at that. That's interesting. How does Denbrock use the tight end?
Yep.
And does he have the talent of tight end comparable to what he's got now? He's gonna use his playmakers. We know that.
Yeah.
So.
Especially in the red zone, I like a tight end.
I like the probability of Evans scoring a tight end. I think a tight end score of some sort. I mean, even if it's just a handoff or a shovel pass or something, I can see him getting the ball and making noise.
Mitchell
Palooza. I don't know if we'll go Mitchell Palooza.
I won't bring that one back. Riley Leonard's big enough. But if you're really feeling bold on those betting lines this weekend, how do you feel about this? Plus 550 for the Irish defense to get a touchdown. That's a good payout, obviously, but
well, that tells me that Vegas doesn't think it's very likely to happen.
And I believe I'm not going to commit this, but I believe the A&M defense had a better chance to score than the Notre Dame defense. I found very interesting.
I could see that. I would
think the Irish are more like to turn the ball over.
I think people are higher. I think people are higher on the A&M defense, and taking the emotion of being a Notre Dame fan out of it, you look at some of the games we lost last year, and even though our defense played well, like they had some gaps.
Yep.
Like they didn't just overall they were a top defense, but there was a few games where they had letdowns, and I didn't watch A&M. I don't know what their losses looked like last year on the road, so I can't speak to that. But yeah, I could see where maybe you're a little higher on A&M because it's a home, the crowd noise.
Yep.
You're going to force some difficult conversations or communications going on with like Riley Leonard. And is he hearing the play? Can he get the play called? Can he get it communicated? So yeah, it makes sense that just with the environment favoring the A&M, because I think neutral site, crowd 50-50, I think these are pretty even defenses.
Yeah. All right. Riley Leonard over 199.5 passing yards, minus 125. So hitting that 200-yard mark passing, I think is a really interesting one.
Yeah,
because I think the A&M defense is going to try to make him pass the ball, which makes me think he would be pushing that higher number. But
can he?
Can he?
That's the question, because
200 yards passing really isn't that much in the college football game.
No, it's not. But Riley Leonard has never had, I think, a 3,000-yard season.
Right.
I mean, I think 2,600 yards is his like.
Yep.
And he wasn't asked to. He was asked to do RPO and run the ball and win a lot of games with his feet, not his legs.
But this isn't yards in the air. You got to remember, you can throw a screen to.
I know, but
yeah, I'm just saying, like, you can go for 30 yards. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be a shot downfield. So I think that'll be interesting. It might not feel like Riley Leonard's going to have that many like he doesn't have that many passing yards, but I think he's going to be hitting a lot of screens, a lot of quick passes, a lot of quick slants, and he's going to rack up some yards.
Oh, you have to. You got to get the ball out of his hands fast to help your offensive line against a very good defensive front.
Yeah.
So now that's.
I don't think Riley Leonard's going to throw for over 350, but I think he hits over that 200-yard mark.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he may only throw for 100 yards in the air.
Yeah.
And he may get 225.
Yeah. Exactly.
Total yardage. So I can see that with Love and Payne and Evans, and I mean Jaden Thomas. Like, he's a mismatch. You put him in the slot in a quick slant. We haven't talked about Fasan, but I could see where
we've got playmakers we haven't even talked about yet.
Yeah, there's some opportunities. I think so. Yeah, he might get there.
I'm not saying he's going to be throwing deep balls. I think just on quick slants, Denbrock's really going to be trying to get the ball out quick, and they're going to be getting 8, 9, 10, 11 yards.
Yeah, and if I am, we didn't talk about this part of it, but if I am Denbrock, I'm going to try and play quick.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and play really quick, play hurry up, especially early, wear down that A&M defense, slow them down a little bit. If it's warm enough that I can get those guys going and if I can get some hands on the hips early and get those guys a little gassed, I'm concerned about my guys and hydration and things of that nature. 100%. So hopefully the Irish are hydrating now. If you wait till game day to hydrate, it's too late.
Yep.
But we've got enough depth in playmakers. When you look at the depth chart, there was receiver, this guy, or running back, this guy, or so. I think we've got enough depth that you could probably keep the speed going and rotate some guys in and out.
Yeah.
And make it difficult on A&M. So yeah, you're right. It may be part of the key to the game. Is just get the ball out of Riley's hands quick. Make a quick RPO decision.
O-line, if they're having to block for 1 second, it's not.
Hey,
total up a sack, right?
Hey, I could stop a Texas A&M guy for half a second.
Right, exactly.
I don't know about much more than that, but I could stop him for half a second.
Takes a second to hit through you, right?
That's right. He's gonna knock me down and step over me. That's at least a half a second.
All right, so you ready for my crazy parlay of the week?
Okay, what's your crazy parlay?
All right, I alt spreaded Notre Dame -2.5. Riley Leonard over that 199.5 mark. Mitchell Evans over 27.5 receiving yards for the game. And the Jeremiah Love touchdown comes out to a +900 parlay. Heck yeah.
Yeah. 27 yards for Evans seems really low.
That's
like
they're expecting no usage out of him.
Yeah, I mean that's how many Vegas expects him to be a non-factor.
2 to 3 catches.
I mean, yeah, tight end normally 6-7 yards a catch.
Yeah.
I mean he's a tall kid. He's 6'6".
I mean, this is how I think it goes.
He can fall down and get 3 yards.
Yeah, I think it's a 15-yard play, maybe a 3 or 4 yard play, and another 8 or 9 yard play.
Yeah, so that tells me Vegas thinks he will not be utilized much other than blocking.
Yeah. So yeah, I think his line was 24.5, and then I just went up a couple yards, 27.5.
Yeah, because I like the Irish with the points. Yep. I like Riley Leonard at 200 yards.
Yep.
I like Jeremiah Love to score.
Yep.
Just I would think it would be a really no-brainer for Evans to be.
Yep. And watch, he'll go for 3 yards, and that'll really.
He'll get 26.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not putting any money on him because if I put money on him, it will not happen.
Right. But yeah, I mean, I'm just cooking up this parlay this morning, and I was like, man, +900, and I had a boost on it, so I think I got plus like 1,100. So
nice.
Shout out to the boost, but yeah, definitely feeling good about that one. I mean, I think the Irish are going to win this game, as I had the 10-point prediction earlier. But yeah, really feeling good about this parlay.
Yeah,
you do after you make every single parlay.
That's right. They're always good till they're not.
Everyone's a winner. It's a lock. So
that's right. It's like season opener. Everybody's undefeated, and you got to feel good about your chances of national championship till after you play week 1.
Exactly.
If you're Georgia Tech, you're feeling better. If you're Florida State, you're trying to figure out how to go forward.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's an interesting parlay, and I think for us it's going to be an interesting trip. I'm excited, like I said, I'm excited to get to A&M and see what the whole hype.
Excited for college football to be back.
I'm excited for college football season to be back. Yeah, absolutely.
Got some great games this weekend.
We made it out to a high school football game last week, and it was just fun to go to a high school football game, just to go see football in person and see some kids playing. So and then get to the blue and gold, and I'm just that much more excited. So all right, well, I think it's going to be an interesting trip. We'll check in the next few days post game. So look for something Monday or Tuesday. We'll try and get
check out the social medias. I'm sure we'll be posting on there at Irish 65 Pod on, I think, all of them, right?
Yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram,
Twitter, X.
Yeah, we're on everything. So hunt us down. Send us an email if you want. Irish365pod@gmail.com.
Yep.
Tell us your favorite stories. If you got any good recommendations for places to eat in College Station, let me know.
Yeah, and send those parlays in too, right?
Yeah,
Let's
what's
see
your
those.
what's your parlay?
What's our plays this
What
weekend?
best do you like? I'm told Chickens is the place we got to hit.
Chickens?
Chickens is the place we got to hit when we're
Oh,
in
man.
College Station.
All right.
I don't know what Chickens is.
What do they got?
I don't know. I think it's a burger place.
Okay, it's got burgers. Gotcha.
So it's kind of like it's a Southern nickname. So big guys called tiny, little guys
Gotcha.
slim, that kind of a thing. So yeah. Anybody have any recommendations of things we got to do or hit? I'm excited to see that. I think the A&M Rowdies will be fun to be around, and I expect to take some good-natured taunting and maybe some not so good-natured taunting.
We got some stuff written up, don't we?
That's right.
I'm going deep into the pockets for this one. I'm ready. I've been ready.
All right. So thank you for tuning in. We'll be back soon with an update on post-game activities.
Yep. Go Irish. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Irish 365 podcast.
You can find us wherever you get your podcast.
We are on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Irish 365 Pod.
And you can always reach us at our email, irish365pod@gmail.com.
Good night.
And God bless.